晚上
Night or evening.
天黑了
The sky is dark, or hey literally means like black. I mean, the sky. It isn't. I'm gonna say the sky is dark.
天已经有点黑了
The sky is already getting a little dark. 天已经is already. 天已经黑了 like it's started getting a little dark. EDR a little dark.
晚上太阳下山了天黑了晚上我今天穿了一件紫色的衣服
Today I am wearing, or I put on some purple clothing.
这是我的衣服
These are my clothes.
它是紫色的
That is purple, or it is purple.
紫色的衣服我觉得紫色挺好看的
I think that purple looks pretty good. 挺好看的 Ting is like pretty, or like kind of, and then 好看 is looks, like it looks good. So I think purple is pretty good.
现在我正在走路
I am currently walking.
我正走着准备去买东西
I'm currently walking Zhongbei. I'm not sure what that is, but I know she's going to do some shopping. 买东西
我提了一个袋子这是一个布袋子这个袋子是粉色的
袋子 So 袋子 is a bag, and she said it's 粉色的 is pink. So this bag is pink.
粉色我穿的衣服是紫色的粉色和紫色
She was just repeating that her clothes are purple, the bag is pink, and she was saying pink and purple.
这个袋子等会儿可以装东西
Was that like hold heavy things? Zhong is like heavy, so it's like it can hold heavy things.
这是一个布袋或者说一个布包
I'm guessing she's just saying what type of bag it is.
这是一家超市
This is a supermarket, and it literally says right here, 超市 超is super, 市 is the type of market.
拿一个推车
推车 Yeah, I knew those are carts.
让我可以把袋子放进去哦这儿也有个袋子这个袋子有点脏让我换一个
Did she say Juanica? I think Juan is like to exchange or change out. So yeah, I was right. So she didn't like, I guess, that there was a plastic bag in the other one, so she's exchanging. Juanica. I just learned that. I learned that word recently in my Pimsleur lesson. Juanica Tleicha. So to change the cart.
这个二楼也有很多推车
This second floor also has a lot of shopping carts. 这个二楼也有很多推车。
这里有很多蔬菜
Vegetables. 蔬菜。
让我挑一个我挑一个好点儿好像他们都差不多都一样
Yeah, I'm pretty lost at this part. I'm not sure what she's saying. 挑一个 I don't know what 挑 is. 挑一个 I don't know what 挑 is. Maybe it's like to pick out, like to choose one. I'm not really sure.
我切一点吧
自己切
我自己切啊
要多少切多少啊
哦好
翻过来切
翻过来哇他让我自己切这是刀他让我自己
Okay, I'm not sure what she'd asked the lady. I'm just assuming she asked, like, do they have this type of tofu or whatever? I don't know what this is. And then dao is a knife. That was knife. I don't know what they said.
他让我等一下
That means like she wants me to wait a little bit.
因为他现在有点忙
She right now is a little busy.
称好了吗
说好了
好谢谢
好美女慢点
您怎么戴着耳机啊
I didn't get that. I don't understand what she said.
豆腐很便宜，
豆腐很便宜. The tofu is very cheap. Alright, now we're gonna watch the video again with subtitles.
现在是晚上，我今天穿了一件紫色的衣服，这是我的衣服，它是紫色的衣服。
Yeah, I feel like I got most of this part pretty spot on.
准备去买东西。
Junbei is, yes, I know Junbei, that's ready.
这是一个布袋子。
So I didn't get bu at first. Bu is cloth. Okay, so 布袋子。
这个袋子等会儿可以。
later in the moment. Okay. And the subtitles that I'm using are from Language Reactor, so I can see the English as well as the Chinese pinyin and characters. If I highlight a phrase, it'll tell me what it means. Jin means to jinchu, okay, to enter, okay, to enter from this or here, from here. 从这 from here, 从这 jinchu. Okay, nah. So the good thing about seeing the subtitles is I'm catching onto the little words that I missed at first.
哦，这儿也有个袋子。这个袋子有点脏。
Oh, 脏 is dirty. Okay, so 脏 is dirty.
现在我坐着这个扶梯上去。
Escalators, 扶梯上去坐着. Okay, so I remember that this 着 is like used to trying to say that something's occurring right now. So these are the vegetables I want to buy. 这是我要买的蔬菜. So you're literally saying this is I want to buy of vegetables. I know, yeah, it says possessive particle, but like it's really just used to connect vegetables with want to buy. So let me think of a sentence. 这是我要喝的饮料. Like this is the soda that I want to drink. 这是我要喝的饮料. Yeah. 这是中国菜的. 这是我要吃的中国菜. 这是我要吃的中国菜. This is the Chinese food that I want to eat. This is the drink I'm going to drink. 这是对的 is correct. Okay. 这是我要吃的中国菜. This is the Chinese food that I want to eat. This is the Chinese food I'm going to eat. Or I want to eat. Okay. Got it.
帮我切一点。
Oh, so she had asked her to cut for her. 切, and that makes sense because this radical, I think this is called, or part of the character, yeah, it's used for knife. Okay, 帮我切一点的，这样吧。
我自己切啊。
Oh, she said 自己切, so 自 means like by oneself. Like 自己, so do it by yourself. Like, so 自己切, so cut it by yourself. Got you. Oh. 要多少切多少啊? Okay, so she's like, how much do you want? How much are you going to cut? Yeah, it says going to how much cut. How much are you going to cut?
别人在买东西。
Oh, she said 别人. 别人 means like other people. 别人在买东西. 别人在买东西. So other people are buying things. So now that I can see the words in the subtitles, it's so much easier to understand, obviously. But I didn't want to start with the subtitles. I wanted to really test my ear to see what I can understand. And then the second time around, start doing, it's more like reading while I'm listening to it. So I definitely caught on to a few more things. I'm going to listen to this video one more time. I'm not going to... I'll probably like put a couple clips in there of me just translating things, but I'm not going to obviously show the whole video over, but that's pretty much what I do. I try to watch a video at least 3 times. If it's a simple comprehensible video like this, I watch it 3 times, 1 time without subtitles, another time with the subtitles, and then another time without. But yeah, guys, that's how I can spend literally 45 minutes on just one video. I practice shadowing, I imitate what they say, I pick out specific phrases, I read the subtitles. I'm practicing a whole lot of different things. I even found a structure and I started making my own sentences with that grammatical structure. So I really think that these videos, these comprehensible input videos, are pretty useful.
我想在这儿待18天。
Before that, do you have time?
在那以前，你有时间吗？
在那以前，你有时间吗？
你有时间吗？在那以前，你有时间吗？他在台北住了很长的时间了。
There is a friend who's going to come over.
有一个朋友要来。有一个朋友要来。All right, guys, I need some help. This is the last phrase that I need to get for this set, and I just can't figure out how to say 田。
我姓田。
我姓田。It keeps giving me this 67, bro.
Why you sound more Chinese than number 2? Oh my god.
我听起来中国人吗？
很像。
很像。不是，我是美国人。我
Very well。
哪里？我会说一点普通话，我说的不好。Yeah， 我刚才开始学中文。Yeah， 30天前。
Are you joking?
30天前。
30天能说这么好？
我已经有30天学中文了。
I think you're learning 3 years.
3 years?
Number 6.
No.
I think you've been learning 30 years, man.
No, man. 30 days. a month. 1月。
30 days?
1月 30 days. 我不知道，如果你们知道，亚特兰大有很忙的飞机场。你没有去过美国？你没有去过美国吗
Never.
从来不。我的兄弟走了。
I love aircraft.
你喜欢飞机吗？
Yeah, I love.
我不喜欢飞机，我很害怕。我很害怕飞机。
Why are you afraid?
哎呀，
他说：“为什么你很害怕飞机？”
不行，我快不行了，我真的是。
可是因为他们很高 ，it's like very high, right？ 很高。Yeah， 他们飞很高，
Yeah.
飞得很高。Yeah, Mira 比我说的好。班的要是Vivian 的男朋友。哈
Vivian 的男朋友。
班的 ，Yeah， 班的会是 ，Yeah， 班的要是你的男朋友 Vivian。
Congratulations.
你比我大。
I'm older woman.
我们明白了。对，我100岁，今年我100岁，明年100岁，110。
今年100岁，明年110。Oh my god. Justin, can you sing a song?
不可
Can
以，
you sing a song?
不会。唐什么？
我姓唐。
唐思妍？
姓唐。Yeah.
我害怕，我很害怕，我不明白那个名字。思源，
Mira.
思源，唐思源，
唐思远。那个是一个很好笑的名字。
So I just got out of a voice room and they were talking about giving me a Chinese name. So this is the Chinese name that they gave me. Tang Si Yuan. And we will see what it means. Hopefully it's nothing bad. It says Tang. It's a common Chinese surname associated with the Tang Dynasty. It gives it a refined historic feel. Si means to think, to reflect, or to contemplate. Neat. And Yuan is far, distant, or broad. So it's just something like thinking far ahead, deep thinker with broad vision, one who reflects. Interesting. Thoughtful and aspirational, intelligent, one's wise, forward thinking. Oh, cool. Neat. Sick. So is this my new Chinese name? Okay. 我叫唐思远. Let me make sure I'm pronouncing this right.
唐思远，
唐思远，唐思远。我叫唐思远。Let's go, bro. Let's go. This is sick. Yo, I have a Chinese name, bro. This is so sick. Watch, y'all about to see something. Hold on, I'm about to go full Mandarin mode. Watch this. Hold on. 大家好，我叫唐思远，我是美国人，可是我很喜欢学中文，因为我觉得中文是一个很有意思的语言。我住在亚特兰大，和我想提高我的中文。Let's go. Let's go, dude. This is sick. This is sick. I don't even know if I said all of this correctly, but bro, that was... Dude, I'm so freaking excited, bro. I'm so freaking excited to have my own Chinese name, man. That's so sick. 服务员给我菜单，这个菜单有很多菜，我想看菜单，It's a menu. Yes, as the waiter is gives me a menu, or gave me a menu. This menu has a lot of dishes. I want to see the menu.
图书馆很安静，明天我们去图书馆做作业。
Library 图书馆，我去图书馆看书。I went to the library, or I'm going to the library to read books. 图书馆很安静 like quiet, very quiet. 明天我们去图书馆做作业。We're going to the library tomorrow to do our homework. We'll go to the library to do our homework. The library's very quiet, yeah.
The box is large.
这个盒子是大的，
The glass is empty.
杯子是空的，
空的就是天空的空，
空的杯子是空的。
Justin，
茶杯里有一个勺子，
对，
勺
茶杯里有一个勺子，都是锋利的。
哦，刀子，对，刀子是锋利的。
就是在中国呢，我们经常不说锋利，说刀一般都是说刀是快的。在那儿用锋利？ 锋利很少用。
Alright guys, I want to show you guys the milestones for A2. If you've been following this challenge for a bit, you know that I set milestones for myself in order to give myself a structure, to give myself a plan in order to more efficiently move through the levels when learning a language. For Chinese, these milestones give me meaningful and functional ways to use the language and not just to study and practice it. So I like to set these milestones for myself for that reason. I'm just going to go through each of these. You guys can pause the video and actually read these if you want. But these first three tasks are about being able to use the past and future tense properly in Chinese. In A1, I was mainly using the present tense and the present progressive tense. Is like he plays, they go, we read, And the present progressive is the ing. So I am eating, she is going, we are reading. I have a basic idea of how to make those types of sentences in Chinese. Next goal is being able to ask follow-up questions in Chinese to continue a conversation. So not only being able to ask questions appropriately, but making sure that those questions are relevant and actually help with continuing the conversation, which takes comprehension and listening skills. Being able to use the prepositions, all the basic prepositions in Chinese, being able to answer the basic conversational questions that I get asked all the time in Hellotalk, like how long have you been learning a language? How are you learning Chinese? Why are you learning Chinese? What are you going to do today? How is the food in your country? Where do you want to travel in the future? What music do you listen to? Being able to answer all those basic conversational questions is going to be the bulk of my speaking practice for A2, I think. There's going to be a lot of rehearsing answers to these specific questions, because I'm pretty sure I'm going to be asked these questions a lot. I'm going to make sure I practice also describing pictures, because that takes mastery of a lot of basic vocabulary like feelings, colors, clothing, location. In A1 I was focused on ordering food for myself. This time I want to focus on shopping vocabulary, and anything that's related to that. I want to be able to use phrases in order to express my opinion, like I think, I believe, my opinion is, being able to say those types of phrases, and then also being able to use a comparison in order to justify my opinion, like this is worse, or this is better, or this is easier, this is harder. I want to be able to do that in A2. I also want to start running my own voice rooms, because this past month it has been very tough to find beginner rooms to participate in on the Chinese side of Hellotalk. And when I do my own voice rooms, I have full control to focus on specific exercises and activities, and not just chats about random stuff. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I also want to upgrade my ability to order food, to not just be able to order food for myself, but also order food for multiple people and manage all of that. And then be able to use connecting words like before, after, finally, because to form complex sentences. I've already started doing that a little bit, and that has been popping up in my A2 reading passages. And of course, we're going to still translate sentences at the A2 level and do reading comprehension. With all of these tasks, if this is going to give me something to work on, and it will help me move into the intermediate stage. I made a list of all of the topics that I covered in the first 100 hours of learning Chinese, and I wanted to go through it with you guys so you guys can see what types of topics you will most likely encounter or learn within the first 100 hours of learning a language, really. So pronouns, right? I should specify these are the personal pronouns, so like I, you, he, she, we, they, and possessive pronouns, so my, your, their, her. Greetings, farewells, saying hi, goodbye, how are you, how's it going. Introducing myself, wants and needs, daily routines, location and destination, so being able to talk about where I am at, where I am going. So prepositions like in, at, and to. To actually doesn't even function the same way as it does in English. I rarely have to translate the word to in Chinese. So the difference between 可以, 会, 能, the difference between 知道 and 认识. So these words mean like to know. The difference between 请 and 麻烦你给, right? Common places, the gym, bank, school, hospital, subway station, home. Giving directions, like giving directions to get to a place. Some basic verbs, here they are right here. Adjectives, basic adjectives. Colors, occupations, the weather, school subjects, drinks, numbers, and addition. Pimsleur gave a small course on addition. some basic animals that I wrote here. Body parts, everyday objects, transportation, basic traveling, not like airport terms, but just like basic talking about travel, where you want to go, how you're going to get there, going, leaving, and returning, sports, time of the day, the calendar terms, so like yesterday, tomorrow, week, month, year, day, seasons, adverbs of time, so words like often, always, never, rarely, still, like the words before and after. I've learned 以前 and 以后. Money and currency, I even learned how to say to exchange, or a currency, or exchange money, really. Yeah, 换钱. Picking up food from a restaurant, we did. Making plans, shopping comparatives, so saying that something is more something than something else, like easier than something else, harder than something else. And then basic speech therapy terms. 障碍 is disorder, 障碍. 自闭症的孩子 is autistic kids. 口吃 is stuttering. So yeah, I'm learning some of these terms in the very first 100 hours of learning. So this is all that I've learned. It's actually crazy to look back at the list and think, wow, I learned all of this. Alright guys, I've officially hit 100 hours in the challenge. I'm actually at 110 hours today. And I wanted to give you guys my takeaways. I'm going to be talking about the positives, the things that I have accomplished, things that have not been going well for me, things that I've just noticed about Chinese or studying Chinese, and then things that I plan on changing for the rest of the challenge. Positives first, and these aren't in any particular order. I realized that rehearsing a script daily during week 1 was super beneficial. It made it so easy for me to introduce myself in Hellotalk when I finally got on the app and got into the voice rooms. Like, I really didn't even have to think about like how to say like how old I am or where I live or how long I've been learning Chinese. Like, I really just said what I rehearsed, and everyone understood what I said for the most part. So rehearsing works a lot. I think that learning the structure of the Chinese sentences also made it easier for me to infer the meaning of words that I didn't know. So not just, trying to learn as many vocab words as possible, but really paying attention to like where verbs go in Chinese, where location words go in Chinese, where the subject goes. Being able to break it up like that made it easier for me to infer the meaning of the sentence. I think that I had a relative strength in pronunciation because, well, I wrote down some factors here. I think this is why. Speaking from day 1. I spoke from day 1. As soon as I started learning Chinese, the very first thing I did, you guys saw it in my week 1 video, I practiced pronouncing these sounds in Chinese. Every possible phoneme, every possible sound that there is in Chinese, I tried to pronounce it. Not just trying to pronounce it myself, but actually listening to it being pronounced and trying to imitate it the best that I can. Was it a perfect pronunciation? No. But once I got into Hellotalk, I was at a stage where there were small adjustments that I really had to make in order to pronounce things correctly. It wasn't like I was speaking Chinese for the first time. So speaking from day 1 was so important. Practicing with objective tools like Audacity, text-to-speech, the AI text-to-speech that spoke out the words, I could shadow that. Speech-to-text has been great because that way I know that I'm pronouncing words at least clear and intelligible enough that the AI can understand me. And I also think, obviously, I'm a speech therapist, so I have I have developed awareness of pitch, rhythm, intonation, all of these different aspects of speech. I have a higher acuity to those things, so I'm able to adjust a little better. I know, how the tongue works, how the mouth works. I'm able to adjust a little bit better and fine-tune the pronunciation a bit better for that reason. And the big thing that really helps my pronunciation, and it's super important, you really can't pronounce well without this step, is receiving
feedback from native speakers. I might think I pronounce things correctly. The AI might think I might pronounce things correctly, but it doesn't matter if a native speaker can't understand you. So being able to receive feedback when you speak is so important, and it's going to allow you to be clearer and be understood. The next positive, not about pronunciation, but about review. The flashcards that I've been making I'm really enjoying them a lot because of how multimodal they are. The pictures that I put on the cards, they help me. Sometimes I'll be sitting just not even working on Chinese, and I can visualize the picture that I put on certain cards, and it immediately reminds me of the words. The audio on the cards helps also with recalling the pronunciation of the words and the sentences, and also improving listening skills. So if you're going to make flashcards, it's highly recommended that you incorporate not just text, but audio, pictures, everything together, so that reinforces that recall. Another positive, rewatching the comprehensible input videos is so underrated, in my opinion. I don't hear people recommend it enough. Rewatch the videos. Don't just watch one video one time. Don't do that. Actually rewatch the video at least 3 times. And it really helps with not even just improving your understanding, just you catch on to certain parts of the language that you just didn't catch the first listen. It's like reading a book the second time. You notice things the second time, or when you play a game for the second time, a video game for the second time, you notice things the second time you play it. So it happens when you're rewatching videos. You just start to notice things more, and it's also less, in my opinion, it's less mentally taxing the second watch through, because you already know what's going to happen, you already know what they're going to say. And if you're using the way that I do it, first time without subtitles, second time with subtitles, and then again without, then it should be a pretty enjoyable experience. It shouldn't be very mentally taxing, unless you're just completely starting to learn Chinese and you have no vocabulary at all. And the last thing is not really a positive, but just something that I thought would be important to note, is that I've been studying Chinese for 2 to 4 hours a day, with an average of 3 hours a day. I have a routine where I listen to Chinese on the way to work, on the way back from work. When I get home, I'm either doing some sort of writing practice, listening to YouTube videos, or I am on Hellotalk. And that's every day. Some days have been rough where I only do an hour practice, but most days that's what I'm doing. There's a lot of review happening. There's a lot of just practice day in and day out, and I think that consistency is also essential. And as you guys know, Pimsleur has also been a big part of the method that I'm using to learn Chinese. I'm going to address Pimsleur in a second. I'm going to talk about some of the positives and negatives just with Pimsleur. But some general negatives that I've noticed while learning Chinese, it's been pretty hard to find a good voice room on the Chinese side of Hellotalk. I've only seen about a few. I try to stick to the voice rooms where they're using there's like a whiteboard function. Those types of voice rooms, usually when they're actually using the whiteboard and presenting some sort of worksheet or material, academic material, those types of rooms are usually pretty good. I've found maybe 3 groups that consistently do learning activities, so I try to keep in mind their schedule when they open rooms and try to join their rooms. While talking about the voice rooms in Hellotalk, I'm noticing another negative, that I focus a little too much on trying to understand every word. And one other negative thing that, I'm noticing while learning is it's hard to go from comprehensible input, speech, speed, the rate, and then go into Hellotalk where everyone's speaking at native level speed. It's just not matching up, and I think I need to find a way to introduce more native level speed, but with easier vocab and easier language. I'll have to do some searching for that, because, a lot of the things that are at native level speed are made for native speakers. But I expect, maybe street conversations or certain channels on YouTube might have those types of videos where they're speaking quickly, but the language they're using is pretty common. Let's talk about Pimsleur for a little bit. I'm going to address the negatives of Pimsleur real quick, and then I'm going to tell you guys how I think you guys should use Pimsleur. So one thing about Pimsleur is the way they introduce basic vocab words is pretty disjointed. It's pretty all over the place. They introduce things like the numbers, the months, the days of the week. They introduce all those things out of order. They're not going to introduce 星期一 is Monday, 星期二 Tuesday, 星期三 Wednesday. They're not going to do that. They're going to introduce things as they come up in the conversation. So they'll say, hey, do you want to get something to drink on Sunday? And then they'll say, repeat Sunday, 星期天. And then later on in the lesson, they'll say, 星期天不行. Like Sunday doesn't work, all right? 星期二, Tuesday. They'll go from Sunday to Tuesday. They won't go in order. With the numbers, I think I learned 6 first. I think I learned 1. And then I learned 6, and then 3, and then 2, and then 8. It was crazy. It was all over the place. The way they introduce basic vocab words, it's pretty all over the place. I've just had to look to other resources to fill in those gaps, because you're really at the mercy of the audio lessons when it comes to having that vocab. And the next negative about Pimsleur, towards the middle of Pimsleur level 1, they started introducing just very irrelevant vocab, irrelevant and outdated. They'll teach you words for specific street names, 学院路, college road, 学院路, or 长安街, Long Peace Street. These they're so stuck in my head because I've had to repeat these specific street names so many times, but I'm never going to use these in conversation. Unless I go to these streets in China, I'm never going to use this. They taught me the word for mung bean cake. And there's outdated words too. There's words like phone book, business trip, stamp, letters, post office. I mean, for a beginner, level 1 Chinese, these are not the type of vocab that I need. And then the last negative with Pimsleur is it just annoys me, the way that they focus on the memorization of these very specific foods and places instead of teaching very useful chunks or phrases. They just start throwing random stuff in there of random just vocab you don't really need, and it's a waste of time at that point. But you have to sit through the lessons and you have to stay engaged, because if you do any of the other things like the vocal coach, you need to know all of the phrases that you practice in the lesson. So you can't just not learn those words, unfortunately. All right, here are the positives of Pimsleur. It is obviously super effective when it comes to spaced repetition. There are words that I've just said so many times and they're just stuck in my head. Not only just the word itself, but how to pronounce the word. I can hear the speakers actually saying it in my head right now, from how many times I've heard it, how many times I've had to say it. It's just, oh my gosh, super effective with spaced repetition. I don't think there's a single word in Pimsleur as of right now that I've had to add to flashcards to get more review of that word. It's just, it reviews the word so much. It's just, you don't have to review that vocab that you learn in Pimsleur. You just don't have to. Super good with spaced repetition. You're practicing listening comprehension, translation, speaking fluency, conversation practice, all in one app. It is not spontaneous conversation, though. That is a different skill that you'd have to practice in Hellotalk or out in the real world. But they do have conversation simulation type things where you can the person will say something and you respond based on a prompt. It's not spontaneous, but you're still working on a bunch of skills at once. So Pimsleur is great. I love it. So here's what I would recommend if you're going to use Pimsleur, okay? Pay for the monthly membership. All right, it's like $20 a month. Just pay for it. All right, because you're not gonna be paying $20 every month. I'm doing 2 lessons a day, and I plan on doing 2 lessons a day until I finish out Pimsleur. So I'm on level 3 now, and I've been using Pimsleur since week 1. I'm already on level 3, and there's only 5 levels. I'm gonna be done with Pimsleur within 2 to 3 months, right? So I'm only paying $40, $60 to get all of the Pimsleur audios. I mean, just pay for the monthly membership. It's like $20. Use Pimsleur for 2 to 3 months. Do like 1 to 2 lessons. If you've never learned the language before, do 1 lesson. But if you can, like, do 2 lessons in a day, do 2 lessons in a day. It's good reinforcement. I usually do it, in the morning when I go to work, and then in the afternoon, like, leave from work. So it's a good refresher of some of the vocab that way, and just keep staying consistent with Pimsleur. So other things, when you are using Pimsleur, as soon as you hit lesson 3, right? Because each level has 30 lessons. As soon as you hit lesson 3 of the first level, there's a reading section. Go to the reading section, quickly skim the alphabet, the pinyin alphabet text that they have, and then the introduction text that they have. And you can look at these pages like whenever you need to. They're going to be there when you go through the levels. But as soon as you hit lesson 3, just go through that reading so you know how to pronounce the pinyin. Do that. Look at the reading. You just don't go back at the reading at every reading lesson. It's not. I don't think it's worth it. I usually do the voice challenges to practice actually speaking. And I mean, reading, you'll have other opportunities to practice reading, in my opinion. After each lesson, there is a voice coach or a vocal coach. Do the challenge for every lesson after each one, okay? Don't worry about pronunciation practice, because I just do the voice challenge. You're going to get feedback anyway. So just go ahead and practice speaking with the voice challenge, the vocal coach challenge. So you can, refresh those phrases that you learned in the lesson, and it's good for translation. If you need extra review after the audio lesson, after the 2 audio lessons a day, after the voice challenge, if you need extra review, do the flashcards or do the quick match. Okay, I don't usually do the speed round because it only really helps you with how fast you can recognize the written words. That's you don't really need speed when you're reading at this stage, I don't think. You could take your time to read, so I don't really see the reason to do a speed round. It might help with translation, quick translating things quickly, but at this beginner stage, I don't really worry about that. So yeah, and then every 5 lessons, you get a bonus pack of really useful phrases. So after 5 lessons in the level, go to those bonus packs and just bookmark or write down the useful phrases that you need, because those are they don't use those phrases in the actual audio lessons, but they're super useful, and I wish that I had looked back at them, because they would have been great to have in some of my Hellotalk rooms. Alright, so now I'm going to talk about some general things that I noticed while learning Chinese. So one of the biggest struggles in Chinese is pronunciation, right? How do you know if you're pronouncing things correctly? And I've noticed there are, certain things that you can do. Some things are better than others. In my opinion, the most effective way, or the strongest indicator of correct pronunciation, is nonverbal native feedback. What do I mean by that? So let's say you say something in Chinese to a native speaker, right? It takes them a minute to respond back. They kind of stutter a little bit, or they you can hear that they're not sure of what you said. They don't understand what you said, right? You can hear it. The reason why I think nonverbal feedback is more important than verbal feedback is because, especially with the Chinese and how they are, there are a lot of Chinese people, and I've experienced this a good bit. I will say something completely wrong in Chinese, and they will still say that I speak Chinese very well, or that they're like, oh my gosh, like how do you speak Chinese so well, right? It's, while that is, while that's really nice to hear for like the ego and stuff, it's not helping my pronunciation, especially if I know that I said it wrong because you didn't say it that way. It's not helping me. So that's why I think nonverbal feedback. So pay attention to when you say something, does the native speaker immediately respond? Do they sound a little confused about what you said? Do they how do they sound sure, right? Because if they don't, then you probably pronounced it wrong or you just didn't say it right. So that's the most important thing. That's the most important type of feedback you can get to know if you're pronouncing things correctly. A close second to that is using audio of a native speaker, right? And shadowing it or recording yourself speaking and comparing your pronunciation to a native speaker. Now, if you don't have the acuity, if you don't have the ability to hear the differences in the native speech and your speech, it can be difficult to tell if you're pronouncing things correctly. So that's why it's like a close second. You could do the same thing with like an AI text to speech. You could compare your speech with AI text to speech. I've done that with Audacity too. After that, if you don't have audio of a native speaker, you could use speech to text. You could pronounce things yourself to a speech to text, and it'll write the Chinese characters as it hears it. But the only issues with that is, sometimes sometimes it won't write what you say. There's glitches. Sometimes you'll say it completely wrong and it still writes it because it's AI. It's trying to guess what you're saying based off of the context and how it sounds. And the same thing happens also not just with speech to text, but with different softwares for grading your pronunciation. So Elsa Speak, Pimsleur has a voice coach. Those challenges that AI, it gives false positives and false negatives all the time too. I'll say something right. I know I said it right. I can hear that my pronunciation and the native speaker's pronunciation are almost perfectly the same, and they'll still say it's wrong, and it's so frustrating. But that's why it's not perfect. And Hellotalk also has a feature like that too. It's just not reliable a lot of the time. Other things that I've noticed. So, and this is also not just specific to Chinese, for every language. What I read in the pinyin, how native speakers pronounce the words is different. How they pronounce it versus how it should be pronounced, how it's read, because there's a difference between standard Chinese and the accent that the person has. It's easier to infer the meaning of verbs than nouns. I've just noticed that because you tend to pay more attention to actions. In those comprehensible input videos, I'm paying more attention to what the person's doing, not all of the possible nouns, places, things, objects that the person could be talking about. Instead of trying to memorize all the tones, say this word has a rising tone or this word has a falling rising tone, instead of trying to memorize each word having specific tones, I think just remembering a specific pronunciation for a word has worked. Aside from obviously being able to look up words, I think being able to edit these videos has actually made it easier for me to understand conversations that I've had, because there's not pressure, there's no stress, right? Nobody's rushed to speak. I'm not rushed to try to understand what the person's saying. I edit the videos and I just, I have time to try to guess what the person's saying. I can hear it over and over. I know the context now that I've already had the conversation, so it's just easier. And this last point is super important. It's basically the foundation of spaced repetition, and it's what's going to help you recall vocab. The ability to recall vocab is completely dependent on the number of exposures to the word or the number of uses of that word, not in one sitting, not in one study session, but across a span of time, right? Not just, reviewing one word 1,000 times in 1 hour or in 30 minutes, but being able to wake up the next day, look at that word, wake up 3 days from then, look up that word, or see that word, or hear that word, or use that word, wake up a month from now and still see that word, right? You have to continually expose yourself to the words and use them in order to recall. And that's nothing new. That's spaced repetition, right? That's the basis of Anki. It's the basis of Pimsleur. But I think someone had to say it because people often have the wrong idea. They just try to, review one time and then they're just like, okay, I think I know the word now. No, you have to continuously expose yourself to the word. I could be completely wrong with this last note, okay? But I did notice this, and I think it makes a little bit of sense. So the stress pattern of the sentence or the rhythm of the sentence, I think is just as important as correctly pronouncing the tones in Chinese. What do I mean by this? So in English, right, if I say the sentence, I want to play basketball. I want to play basketball, right? There's an obvious stress on basketball. I want to play basketball, right? I want to play basketball. Now, what if I said that sentence like, I want to play basketball. I want to play basketball. I want to play basketball. Like, you might be able to understand it, but if you are outside of the context, if you don't know the person well, if you don't know what we're talking about, if you don't know the context of the conversation, hearing someone say, I want to play basketball, the stress pattern's off, and it's distracting, and it's hard to understand what is basketball. If you've been used to hearing basketball your whole life, and you hear someone say basketball, that's with the wrong stress pattern, basketball, you might be able to understand it, but most people probably won't. Now, if I said the word basketball, right? Basketball. If I said it with like the wrong tones, like basketball, I want to play basketball. I definitely think that the tones and you have to focus not only on the tones but also the rhythm of the sentence, the stress pattern of the sentence and the words, in order to be well understood. You have to have perfect tones, perfect stress, right? Perfect. You have to have both. You can't have terrible tones, but good rhythm of the sentence or stress of the sentence, because the tones completely change the meaning of the words, right? But you also can't have perfect tones and bad rhythm, because it's distracting. It's out of the ordinary, and that can also lead to not being understood. All right, so now I'm going to talk about things that I'm going to change from now on. So I have a bad habit of being unsure when it comes to pronouncing some of these Chinese words, and I add a very obvious question intonation, a rising intonation at the end of almost all of my sentences in conversations. Usually it's the sentences that I've never practiced before, so I'm just I think that's right. Rising intonation, and it's not helpful. I just have to be confident in how I pronounce the words. Even if it's wrong, that's a chance for me to learn how to say it. The next thing I'm going to change, I have a bunch of phrases, so many phrases and so many words that I've written down and I'm not using. They're just sitting on my notebook and my computer. And I need to figure out more ways to use all those phrases, not just have them sitting on my computer, but actually using them. I want to begin opening up my own voice rooms, like I said earlier, or joining voice rooms every day, every other day, because I'm still at a stage where I'm forgetting some of these common Hellotalk phrases, the basic phrases that you say in Hellotalk all the time. Can I come up on stage? I think I learned that phrase a while ago, but I just haven't practiced it. I need to be in the rooms more, but using those phrases more to actually recall them better. I want to include more listening practice with simple language, but native level speed. So the first thing that comes to mind, in my opinion, is like easy Chinese, street interviews, street conversations, or some beginner podcasts. I believe those exist, where it's not like slow Chinese, but it's Chinese spoken at a native speed, but basic, simple language. And then the last thing, I'm not writing enough. I'm not free writing enough. And free writing is going to help me with my speaking. If I check my hours for writing, I am at not even at 3 hours. Out of the 110 hours that I've done, I haven't even done 3 hours of free writing. So I need to write more. So I need to get myself to write some more, writing just sentences, getting corrections on my writing, answering questions through writing. I just need to write more. So those are my takeaways. After only 100 hours of studying Chinese. I still have so much to learn. I'm super excited. I will probably do the same thing maybe at 200 hours. Won't be as extensive maybe. I don't know. We'll see. I'm still planning on learning every day. So we will see what 200 hours of Chinese looks like. I am enjoying the process still. It's still being very fun, and I can't wait to take on A2.
Alright guys, so to conclude, we're going to go through our week 5 total. So this week I studied 23 hours. And the reason why I studied so much, I started using the Pimsleur voice coach challenges. Basically, they are, each lesson on Pimsleur, you get a voice coach challenge where you have to orally translate 9 to 12 sentences from English to Chinese. There's one each lesson. There are 30 lessons in each level, and I'm on level 3, so I didn't do any of level 1, any of level 2, so I was very behind. So I decided to do all of the voice coach challenges for level 1. I even got a certificate for level 1. So I probably did I definitely did over 300 translations for level 1. I even did half of all the voice coach challenges for level 2. And then I'm caught up on level 3 for Pimsleur. So I did a lot of oral translation or interpreting, and that took up most of my time. I really enjoyed it, aside from getting some false negatives sometimes. Pimsleur, the app it's AI, so it's still pretty flawed, but I enjoyed recalling some of that old vocab, or attempting to recall some of the old phrases from level 1 and 2. So I was doing a lot of that. I went on Hellotalk again, went into a couple of rooms. I read an A2 passage, and we just continued with our usual routine. Here are my skill totals. Speaking, we're at 36 hours. Listening passively and actively, we're going to combine those, so we're at 48 hours for listening. Reading, we're almost at 4 hours of reading in the challenge, almost at 3 hours of writing. We're at almost 5 hours of exposing myself to Chinese vocabulary through English. So when someone will speak English in a video and teach Chinese vocabulary that way. Creating and reviewing flashcards, we're at almost 8 hours. And then grammar study and translation practice, we are at almost 6 hours. I don't include the Pimsleur voice coach practices in this total because I mainly add that into my speaking time, because it's oral. You're recording yourself translating. And we are at 110 hours total. So that has been what I've been up to, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video with the updates on the activities that I've been doing, on the milestones that have been updated, as well as the takeaways. I hope it has been very helpful for you guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next week video. 再见。